So Al Franken recently resigned over sexual harassment allegations. Now, the allegations against him were a little different from case to case. There were a few cases. There are apparently a few women who stepped forward who said, listen, whenever he would take a picture with somebody, he would grab the woman's ass. Yeah, that's unacceptable. Don't do that. That's fucked up. That's creepy. That's weird. That's not cool. One of the other allegations against him was he was with another comedian doing a show actually overseas, and I think in Iraq, and he created this skit that's supposed to be funny. In the skit, he kisses this other comedian. And he was backstage with her, and he was like, we need to practice it. And she's like, we don't need to practice it. And he's like, no, seriously, we need to practice it. And he, like, coerced her, kind of forced her to do the kiss, and she, like, pushed him off and was like, ugh. Now, he says, his argument is, some of these things are not true that are being claimed against me, and other ones didn't happen the way that they're describing it. So he doesn't really think he's guilty. And that was clear in his resignation speech. But his point was, I'm being forced out by Democratic leadership. That's basically what happened. He's being forced out. So while this happened, my concern is, so now the Democrats have set up a standard. The standard is whenever there are accusations against a Democratic politician, we're done. We cut him off. We make him resign. Because that's what happened. They pressured him to resign. Conyers is resigning as well. There were allegations against him. Now, I don't know if I agree with that standard. Well, you just weaponized accusations now. Because you just made it so you think the people on the right who have no morals, no scruples whatsoever. Is that a word? If it is, I don't know if I've ever used it. And they go as far as they argued against John McCain, Karl Rove did. They did push polling in the South during the election. They said, would you vote for John McCain? Would you be more likely or less likely to vote for him knowing he fathered an illegitimate black child? They did this push polling in the South. Bush ended up winning. George W. Bush. The same people who are going to do that kind of a push poll, the same people who ran the Willie Horton ad, that group of people, they're going to be principled when it comes to sexual assault allegations. They're not going to make false ones. Not only do I think they're going to do it, I now think it is inevitable. Because the Democrats showed, and Franken let everybody know with the way he resigned, he's letting him, look, it's not really that he wants to do it, it's that he's being forced to do it, basically, by Democratic leadership. So, in my mind, I think the best approach on this stuff is to actually have an investigation and then determine the facts. And then if it's true that these people are guilty, as these investigations have found, yes, then fucking they should be, at that point, I'm even fine with them being forced to resign. If you do an investigation and they found that they did it, and even if they say, I don't want to resign, no, then you could force them to resign after you do the investigation, as people who are on the left were supposed to believe in due process. That's a defining feature of people on the left. That standard shouldn't shift depending on which exact crime or issue we're talking about. So, another issue with what ended up happening with Franken and how the Democrats are approaching this, where now accusations mean you're done. Well, now you have two separate standards. The President of the United States had 16 accusers. And the allegations against him were way worse than what they were against Franken. With Trump, the allegations are, he kisses me when I don't, it's like out of the blue. By the way, Trump bragged about that on tape. I don't even wait. Grab him by the pussy. Those are the other allegations. I was in the club, I was standing there. I feel a hand on my private parts. I look, it's Donald Trump grabbing my private parts. His ex-wife accused him of rape in a courtroom. So, the allegations against him are way worse. And there's 16. There were 16 of them. And there's no conversation about, hey, maybe this guy should. Only Bernie Sanders said, if Franken's going to resign for claims that aren't nearly as strong, Trump should resign. Because if we're going to have a standard, let's have a standard. But again, no, the Democrats said, this is our standard, allegations mean you're done. On the Republican side, they're not even interested in having an investigation into this stuff. They're about on the verge of electing an accused pedophile. Roy Moore, he's not even elected yet. And they're like, we're about to elect him. So, but it got even worse. So this news just broke this week. Former Fox News employee, Trump tried to kiss me on the lips. This is from The Hill. A former syndicated Fox News host said Friday that President Trump tried to kiss her in an elevator in 2005 or 2006, which she said surprised her, but did not make her feel threatened. It's unclear whether Trump was married at the time, since Juliette Huddy does not recall the exact date, Page 6 reported. He took me for lunch at Trump Tower, just us two, Huddy said on Compound Media's Morning with Bill Schultz. He said goodbye to me in an elevator while his security guard was there. Rather than kiss me on the cheek, he leaned in to kiss me on the lips. I wasn't offended. I was kind of like, oh my God. She added that she didn't feel threatened, but was, quote, surprised that Trump tried to kiss her. It was a weird moment, she said. He never tried anything after that, and I was never alone with him. Huddy said that while she was not offended at the time, in hindsight, she would have resisted his advances. Now I have matured, I think I would say, whoa, no, but at the time I was younger, and I was a little shocked, she said. I thought maybe he didn't mean to do it, but I was kind of making excuses. Okay. Now, this is number 17, accusation number 17. And even if you say, well, it's almost questionable as to whether or not there was consent in this issue, even though he kissed her out of the blue, there's still 16 other allegations. So if you say, put this one aside because she's saying I wasn't threatened and maybe there was some degree of consent, or so even if you want to make excuses and justifications and rationalizations for this one, then put it aside, 16 other allegations. Nobody's even talking about. Hey, other than Bernie. Hey, what the fuck? Franken's got to step down. You don't have to step down. We get rid of the people who have accusations against us. The Republicans don't get rid of the people that have accusations against them. So I do think that it's the bare minimum that can be asked for to have equal standards across the board. Where, in my mind, probably the best thing to do, though I understand that there's room for reasonable disagreement on this stuff, is whenever there's an accusation, you do have an ethics investigation, and then whatever the conclusions of that are, then you have, whatever process in place to, I would be fine with getting rid of them if it's found that they did these things, even if they say, I don't want to go. So, but there should be an investigation, and that's across the board. So I'm not saying, hey, with Trump, you got to get rid of him without having the investigation. No, you have the investigation and you figure out what's going on, and then if it's, in fact, he's been enough evidence that people would say, yeah, he probably did it, at least with however many of them, 4 or 5, whatever, then forget it. He's gone. Same with Frank, same with all of them. So, I mean, that would be the thing that makes sense. But what we have now is we have Democrats say, if you accuse any Democrat, we're just going to get rid of them. The Republicans say, if you accuse any Republican, not only are we not going to get rid of them, we're not even going to have an investigation, and we're also going to maybe vote for them, even though there are accusations of them being a pedophile, for example, in the case of Roy Moore. So the two standards are a problem. The two standards are a problem. And sorry, but nobody should be in favor of that. And now we have, the thing that's wild about this Trump example is, this one broke just this week. The new accuser. Hey, kiss me out of the blue. Hey, remember when he said, sometimes I kiss him. I can't wait. I just start kissing him. Sometimes I grab him by the pussy. I don't even wait. He said it on tape. And women come out and say, that's exactly what he did to me. And, people are like, the Republicans get a total pass, but let's throw the Democrats under a bus. No, let's have an objective standard, because if we don't, then it's all a political game. That's what it is. And I guarantee you that there are going to be false accusations coming from unscrupulous characters, from Republicans. But by the way, not even just Republicans. Also from certain unscrupulous Democrats. And we'll discuss that in a little bit.